There's a moment in cinema, where everything we thought we understood about a film just collapses. Like we were comfortable, we were following the story, we trusted the direction and screenplay, and in one scene or in one moment, the entire architecture of the film rearranges itself. And these particular moments are what we are here to talk about. Plot twists, in my opinion, are one of the most misunderstood devices in cinema. People treat them like a magic trick, something a filmmaker pulls out when they want the audience to gasp. But the ones that really stay with us for years, those really aren't tricks. They are actually revelations, and a revelation rewards the audience, and it makes the film richer on a rewatch, where every frame, every dialogue, every silence means something different. Indian cinema has been doing this for decades, and I can argue with full conviction that some of the most structurally brilliant, emotionally devastating, and philosophically complex plot twists have come from Indian films. It's the filmmakers who understood the grammar of suspense deeply enough to break it, who trusted their audiences to plant seeds in Act 1 that wouldn't bloom until the final minutes. Today we'll go through some of the great films with different kind of twists and different emotional impacts, because no two twists on this list work the same way. Also, we are not just listing these films and saying what a great twist, but we'll actually go inside them to talk about why they work, what the filmmaker was actually doing, and what they were hiding, and more importantly, how they were hiding it. Because the craft of a great plot twist lives entirely in the setup and not the payoff. So if you love cinema with twists, then this one is for you. Andhadhun. Now let's start with the one that confused each one of us. Sriram Raghavan's Andhadhun is on the surface a thriller about a pianist who pretends to be blind and accidentally witnesses a murder. Simple enough of a premise, right? But what the director does with that premise over 2 hours is nothing short of extraordinary. He pretends to show you everything while hiding the most important thing of all. The twist, or rather the question that arises at the end. Was Akash actually blind? The film shows you a version where he's still blind, have moved to Europe and lives with the guilt and thrill of everything he has survived. He tells the whole story to Radhika's character, and then while leaving he uses his cane to knock a tin can midway. A move that is impossible for any blind man. And then and there, the film ends. Now here's what makes this interesting from a craft perspective. The director was never actually lying to us. He was letting us lie to ourselves. We knew from very early scenes that Akash was pretending to be blind to the characters in the film. That is something that is not hidden from us. Every single scene in the film where Akash acts blind, every stumble, every squint was watched by us as a performance within performance. And here's the trap that the director has set for us. Because one level of deception was visible to us, but second level was invisible. Because we trusted the camera, assuming that the things it is showing in the film was on our side and giving us the real story. And that's the genius of it. The rabbit in the final scene is the film signature. In the beginning of a film, there's a scene about a rabbit that gets hit by a car, and Andhadhun is a story about how distraction cost you. Then at the end, the rabbit reappears, where Akash is in Europe and telling the story to Radhika's character Sophie, and then while leaving, he hits a can midway. So the question arises, how did he actually do it? How exactly he was able to see that rabbit got hit by a car? Does he see it? Did he regain it through the transplant that the film alludes to? The director doesn't tell you all that. Maybe it was all a story made up by Akash, as it was slightly hinted by a director when we get a close-up of his stick with a rabbit on it. But the refusal of not telling everything through screenplay is not exactly an evasion, it's a philosophy. Because the entire film is about strategic blindness. We're choosing not to see when it's convenient, closing eyes to what's in front because seeing it requires you to act on it. So whether Akash can literally see at the end is almost secondary to the question of whether he is honest about what he perceives. He watched a man get murdered, so he made choices, basically the moral choices dressed up as survival instincts. And now he sits in a cafe in Europe telling this almost made up story. So maybe he can see, maybe he chooses to see things more clearly. The film leaves all those thoughts and theories completely open for us. Maharaja. Maharaja arrived in 2024 and did something I genuinely didn't expect Tamil commercial cinema to do. It is not because Tamil cinema lacks ambition, but because what Maharaja does requires a specific kind of controlled rage that is very hard to sustain across a full feature film without either becoming melodramatic or losing its nerve. And Maharaja doesn't lose its nerve even once. A barber named Maharaja files a police complaint about the theft of his dustbin, which he calls Lakshmi. The absurdity of a man going to a war over over a dustbin forms the film's dark yet comical surface layer. The police find him eccentric and potentially unhinged, and then after certain revelations, the film begins peeling back who Lakshmi actually is. Maharaja's daughter was brutally assaulted, and the film's entire architecture, which includes the false premise, the dustbin as a coded reference, the layers of misdirection, all of this exists because Maharaja doesn't trust the police, the system, or anyone with the actual truth of what happened to his daughter. He's hunting the men who hurt her by himself. The dustbin complaint was a map, and that investigation was his weapon. When the full picture assembles, that is when the film shifts its tectonic plates. What initially felt like an eccentric procedural drama becomes into a portrait of a father whose grief has been weaponized into something surgical and terrifying. And by the very final moments, it delivers a plot twist that no one in their right mind could have imagined. The man behind the assault of Maharaja's daughter was in fact the daughter of that very man. This particular twist, along with the symbolism in the closing frame of the film, recontextualizes not just the events but the entire tone of the film. Suddenly, every scene of apparent comedy, Maharaja's persistence, his conversations with the police in retrospect becomes a father performing normalcy so convincingly that he can stay in the room long enough to find the men he's looking for. The direction is remarkable as how it manages audience's emotion. It keeps you slightly off balance throughout the film and never letting the film settle into a predictable register. I'd say that Maharaja's twist is not just the best twist on this list, but it's the most necessary one. Plus, it doesn't make it look heroic, it makes it look like what it is, where a man doing an impossible thing because there was no one else to do it. Drishyam. Drishyam is not a thriller about a crime, it's a thriller about love for family. And once we as a viewer understand that, everything the film does makes complete sense. The setup of the film is deceptively simple. Vijay Salgaonkar is a cable operator with no formal education, but he has watched hundreds of films, crime films, police procedurals and thrillers. And when his family and daughter kills a man in their defense, a man who was blackmailing his daughter, he then proceeds to construct an alibi so meticulous, so architecturally sound that an entire police investigation cannot crack it. The inspector leading the case knows he did it, but she cannot prove it, and ultimately she cannot break him or his family. The twist in the movie isn't a single moment. It's a slow building revelation that crystallizes in the film's final scene, where the body was buried under the foundation of the newly built police station. Vijay has watched the station being built, so he planned it, while the police were investigating his house and his alibi. The investigation was never going to find the body, because the man who had moved the body understood exactly how investigations work. Not from training, but from hundreds of movies and TV shows he had watched and used that knowledge to outthink the system. But here's what separates Drishyam from a simple, clever criminal story, which is the emotional core. Everything that Vijay does, where he coaches the witnesses, the trip he takes his family on, the years of maintaining the lie, all that is an act of love. He didn't protect himself. He protected his daughter from the psychological destruction of being the person who caused the death. He absorbed the moral weight of it entirely, and he carried it for years without cracking. And the final scene where Vijay is standing outside the police station looking at the construction is really quiet and understated. He doesn't look relieved. He just looks like a man who did what he had to do. There's a weight to him in that moment, which is not victory, it's actually survival, or I can say a moral survival. The law couldn't touch him now, but the truth is still there, buried under the police station, basically under the building that's supposed to hold truth. Con. Ram Gopal Verma made Con with almost no money, 3 actors, 1 location, and an idea that was so theatrical that it almost shouldn't work as a cinema, but it really works. A woman is alone in a house during a stormy night when a serial killer is reportedly on the loose. A man knocks on the door who seems harmless, and then another man arrives who seems aggressive and menacing. The tension builds, and then there's the final revelation. The scared woman who was behaving as a victim the entire film was not a victim at all. What the director did with Con is essentially a masterclass in using cinematic shorthand against itself. The single location is not a budget limitation, it's a directorial choice that pays enormous dividends as an overall setup. The house becomes a psychological space. Its geography mirrors the internal states of the characters. The woman moves through rooms the way the film moves through genre assumptions, where she is always slightly unsure of where she is and remains slightly disoriented. The storm setting outside isn't just the atmosphere, it's an isolation made literal. What makes Con genuinely great is the ending's implication. After everything is revealed, where we realize that the woman who seems scared is actually the serial killer. Yet many of the enigmatic elements of the movie remains unexplained, as it was never made clear on how this woman was killing so many people at this mysterious house belonged to Mr. Malhotra. What was the psychic narrative of the protagonist turned serial killer? The true horror of this film in its inversion, where the monster is the one who was most feared throughout the film. The cherry on top is that after killing the two men, she calmly and in an unsettling way removes the victims, cleans up the house and speaks to her mother on the disconnected phone. And finally, that wicked smile at the end by slightly breaking the fourth wall was a pure genius. Kahani. Sujoy Ghosh's Kahani doesn't have a great twist as others, but what the film establishes and makes us feel for 2 hours before the final reveal is something that derails everything that we have watched. We watch a visibly pregnant woman named Vidya Bagchi arrive alone in Kolkata, searching for her missing husband. The city feels indifferent to her. The bureaucracy is hostile. The leads evaporate, and yet she keeps going with vulnerability and a quiet ferocity that makes her one of Hindi cinema's most compelling protagonists. I must say that Vidya Balan's performance was so textured, so lived in, that we forget we are watching a thriller. And then in the final act, it is revealed that her husband Arnab never existed. She was never pregnant and was a widow of Arup Basu, who was the IB officer died in the poison gas attack in Kolkata, orchestrated by Bob Biswas and the man she's been hunting. She came to Kolkata not to find a missing husband. She came to execute the man who took everything from her. The pregnancy was a disguise all along, and that search was a cover. And symbolically, goddess Durga Ma, whose idol is carried through Kolkata streets in every frame of the film, was the template she modeled herself on. She was a woman who came for destruction, draped in the appearance of vulnerability. But why does this twist land the way it does? Because the director has made a film that is on one level a thriller, but underneath that, it's a film about how society sees women, where a pregnant woman is the most unthreatening figure imaginable in the cultural imagination. She is protected and helped across streets. No one really suspects her. No one interrogates her too hard, and director weaponized that assumption righteously. Even goddess Durga imagery is not decorative. She is the warrior goddess who appears gentle until she doesn't. She comes when the world has been violated beyond repair. Vidya Bagchi is Durga in human form, walking and hiding in the plain sight of the very deity she embodies. And on a craft level, director hides the twist through genuine emotional investment. We connect with Vidya's character so completely that by the time reveal arrives, it doesn't really diminish her, it elevates her, and that's rare. Kahani's twist reframes the protagonist as someone whose grief was real, whose mission was righteous, and whose methods were extraordinary. Dawn. Dawn is a film about the identity, but more specifically, it's a film about what happens when the identity becomes a weapon. The premise of the film was familiar to anyone who knows the original Dawn in 1978, where a lookalike is used by the police to replace a crime lord Dawn. He lives a double life, loses himself in it, and somewhere along the way, the line between Dawn and Vijay blurs. And that's exactly the setup of the 1978 version. In Farhan Akhtar's 2006 version, that setup becomes the deception for us. The twist was the Dawn never died. The man the police recruited and deployed as their inside man was Dawn the whole time. He engineered his own apparent death, where in fact Vijay was dead all along. He allowed himself to be recruited as his own lookalike and used the entire police operation as perfect cover to eliminate his enemies, while the system unknowingly provided him cover. We spent the entire film rooting for Vijay, who is trying to survive in the criminal world. That rooting instinct, that investment was the con that the film does with us. Dawn performed with vulnerability and we totally bought it. That was not just a plot twist, that's a statement about power and narrative. The people who thought that they've killed Dawn and now can use his identity to get the underworld's information were eventually gets used by Dawn. The institution that believed it was in control was the most controlled thing in the frame. See, the cracks were always there. We were just so invested in the story to not look at them. There's also a formal elegance to how the film handles the final reveal. It doesn't over-explain it. It doesn't have Dawn deliver a monologue about how brilliant his plan was. The revelation is almost subtle, only with a few lines, a look, and then the famous closing shot of Dawn smiling. That image is one of Hindi cinema's great final frames, completely in control of a story that everyone else thinks is over. Farhan Akhtar understood that the original Dawn was beloved for its energy and charm, and his reimagining kept the same energy, but he weaponized that charm and surprised us at the end. Race. Abbas Mastan films are a genre in themselves. Obviously, knowing that, we don't go into race expecting realism. We go in expecting stylistic scene placements, fast cars, betrayals stacked on betrayals, and a screenplay that operates on pure unapologetic chaos. And Race delivers all of that. But what it also delivers, buried underneath all that glamour, is one of the most mathematically intricate twist structures in mainstream Hindi cinema. Let's talk about what actually happens in the final act. The entire film is a series of double crosses, where Ranveer is betraying Rajiv, Rajiv is betraying Ranveer, Sonia is betraying everyone, Sophia has her own agenda. RD, who is a police officer, seems to be the only person holding the moral center. By a certain point in the film, we know almost everyone is suspicious. And then the film detonates by the very end, where Ranveer and RD is revealed to be the architect of the entire scheme in the movie. Ranveer was an active manipulator who engineered every betrayal, every death, every plot point with the help of RD to fool Rajiv and eventually steal the insurance money. Abbas Mastan, the director, do understand something fundamental about commercial thriller filmmaking? That the audience wants to be outsmarted, but they want to feel like they could have seen it coming. And the reveal works because the film had been hiding all of it in the plain sight. There's also something fascinating about how Race uses its own genre conventions as camouflage. By the time 4th or 5th betrayal happens, we have been conditioned to expect treachery from almost everyone. The film trains us into a state of some paranoid vigilance, and then it exhausts that vigilance to the level that when the final twist arrives, our defenses are already down. We were so busy tracking the characters we were told to track that we stopped watching the one who was watching everyone else. See, Race is not Andhadhun. It's not a film about perception or morality. This is cinema as a theme park where we strap in and we go. Abbas Mastan, in my opinion, are essentially carnival illusionists, where every scene is a misdirection. But the tragedy with Race in critical conversation is that it gets dismissed as time pass cinema. But time pass cinema executed at this level of structural sophistication deserves respect as well. So now that concludes few of my thoughts on these films and their plot twists. In my opinion, what makes each of these twists truly impactful is not just the surprise itself, but it is because the filmmaker made us feel something first and that used that feeling against us in between or in the final act. And that resonates with all of us. You too, please share your thoughts in the comment section of the video about this movie twist and let's have a healthy discussion around it. Also, if you have enjoyed this overall discussion, so please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel for more content ahead. Do follow me on my social handles at CineSamvad for short reviews and cinematic insights. Thank you for watching. We'll meet in the next one. Cheers.